Let me ask you something very honestly. Have you noticed that most of the problems in our life are not happening outside? They are happening inside. Nothing is wrong right now. Let me begin by asking you something very simple, yet very powerful. When was the last time your life was actually as bad as your mind made it look? Think about it. Most of the time, life is happening normally, but inside our head there is a storm. We sit in a safe place among people, with food on the table, yet the mind keeps whispering worries, fears, and doubts. It keeps reminding us of the past or frightening us about a future that has not even arrived. Slowly, without realizing it, we start living more in our thoughts than in reality. The mind has a strange habit. It repeats what we repeatedly feed it. If every day we feed it complaints, comparisons, and criticism, it will give us more of the same. And then we wonder why we feel tired, anxious, or unhappy. Negative thinking does not mean you are weak. It simply means the mind has been trained in that direction. Just like any habit, it feels natural only because it has been practiced for a long time. One important thing to understand is this: not every thought deserves your belief. Thoughts come and go just like people passing on a road. Some are meaningful, some are useless, and some are harmful. But we make a big mistake. We invite every thought inside, offer it tea, and let it stay for years. A single negative thought, if entertained, becomes a story. That story becomes a belief, and that belief starts controlling our decisions. Very often, suffering increases not because of the situation, but because of our interpretation of it. Someone speaks a little harshly, and the mind says, "They don't respect me." One mistake happens, and the mind says, "I am a failure." But reality is much kinder than our imagination. Reality says, "This moment will pass." The mind says, "This is the end." The solution is not to fight the mind aggressively. Fighting gives it more importance. The solution is awareness. When you start observing your thoughts, you create a small distance between you and them. In that distance, freedom is born. You realize that you are the listener, not the noise. The moment you stop reacting to every thought, the mind slowly learns to quiet down. Silence, gratitude, and discipline are powerful medicines. When you slow down, when you become thankful for small things, when your daily routine has balance, negative thoughts lose their grip. Peace does not come from controlling the world. Peace comes from understanding the mind. Remember this always: your mind will talk, but you don't have to agree. Let thoughts come, let them go, but don't let them decide your worth. A calm, aware mind turns even difficult moments into lessons. And when the mind is at peace, life, exactly as it is, feels enough. Let us reflect on something very gently. Every day, from the moment we wake up, the mind starts speaking. Sometimes it motivates us, but most of the time it complains, compares, and creates fear. It reminds us of what went wrong yesterday and what might go wrong tomorrow. Slowly, we begin to trust this voice without questioning it. We forget that the mind is not a prophet. It is only a recorder of past experiences mixed with imagination. Many people believe negative thinking is realism. They say, "I am just being practical." But being practical does not mean being pessimistic. When the mind constantly expects the worst, it is not protecting you, it is exhausting you. Just because a thought appears does not mean it is true. Just because it is loud does not mean it is right. The mind has learned this pattern because it has been rewarded with attention for years. Think about how small problems become big in our head. A simple delay becomes disrespect. A small failure becomes a label for life. One uncomfortable conversation becomes proof that everything is wrong. In reality, most situations are neutral. It is our thinking that adds weight, color, and pain. We suffer more in imagination than we ever do in real life. The first step toward freedom is awareness. Awareness means watching your thoughts without judging them. The moment you start observing, you realize how repetitive the mind is. It keeps playing the same stories again and again. When you see this clearly, you stop taking every thought personally. You understand that thoughts are events in the mind, not commands you must follow. Negativity survives on two things: attention and emotion. When you react immediately, you strengthen the habit. When you pause, you weaken it. That small pause is powerful. In that pause, you choose wisdom over impulse. Slowly, the mind learns that not every thought will be entertained, and it begins to calm down. Gratitude plays a very important role here. When you consciously notice what is working in your life, the mind gets new material to focus on. Even on difficult days, there is always something to be thankful for. Gratitude does not deny pain, it puts pain in perspective. It reminds you that your life is bigger than one bad moment. Discipline is also kindness to the mind. Proper sleep, simple food, honest work, and a little silence every day create stability. A tired, restless body makes the mind more negative. When the body is cared for, the mind becomes more cooperative. Remember, peace is not something you achieve by changing everything around you. Peace comes when you stop arguing with every thought. You are not here to control the mind, you are here to understand it. When you stop identifying with negativity, it loses its power, and one day you realize that the mind still speaks, but it no longer rules. In that quiet understanding, life feels lighter, clearer, and deeply meaningful. Let us take a moment and look at our daily life very honestly. Most of the time, nothing extreme is happening, yet inside we feel restless. We feel pressure, dissatisfaction, and unnecessary fear. This is not because life is attacking us every moment, but because the mind is constantly commenting on everything. It gives opinions even when none are required. Slowly, we start believing that this voice is us, when in reality it is only a habit formed over time. The mind is designed to remember experiences, especially painful ones. Its intention is protection, but without awareness, this protection turns into overthinking. One negative experience gets stored, and the mind keeps replaying it to warn us. But the warning never stops. It keeps repeating even when there is no danger. That is when negativity becomes a lifestyle instead of a signal. Many people try to silence the mind forcefully. They get frustrated and angry with themselves for thinking negatively. But this only adds another layer of conflict. The mind is like a restless child. If you shout at it, it becomes louder. If you observe it patiently, it slowly settles. Understanding is always more powerful than resistance. Notice how thoughts behave when you don't react immediately. A thought comes, it creates some disturbance, and if you don't feed it with emotion, it slowly fades away. But if you react, justify, or fight it, it stays longer. Over time, you realize that thoughts don't control you by force, they control you by your consent. A very important shift happens when you stop asking, "Why am I thinking like this?" and start asking, "Do I need to believe this right now?" This question brings clarity. Not every thought deserves space in your heart. Some thoughts are just mental noise. When you learn to filter instead of absorb, peace naturally increases. Our inner state also depends on how we live externally. When life becomes rushed, overloaded, and unbalanced, the mind reflects that chaos. Simplicity and routine creates clarity in thinking. Even small practices like sitting quietly for a few minutes, breathing consciously, or disconnecting from constant stimulation can reset the mind. Silence is not emptiness, it is nourishment. Another powerful practice is compassion toward yourself. Many negative thoughts are fueled by self-criticism. We speak to ourselves in ways we would never speak to someone we love. When you make a mistake, the mind immediately labels you. But growth happens not through harshness, but through patience. When you treat yourself with kindness, the mind feels safe and negativity reduces. Life will always have ups and downs. Situations will not always be in our control, but our relationship with our thoughts can be transformed. You don't need to become perfect, you only need to become aware. Slowly, the same mind that once disturbed you becomes a guide instead of a dictator. Remember, peace is not found by eliminating all thoughts. Peace comes when thoughts no longer disturb your sense of self. When you understand this, you stop chasing happiness and start experiencing it in simple moments. And that is when life, just as it is, feels calm, meaningful, and complete. Let us slow down for a moment and observe something very quietly. The mind has an incredible ability to create stories. Some stories inspire us, but many stories disturb us. The problem begins when we forget that these are stories, not truths. We start living according to what the mind says, instead of what life is actually showing us in this moment. Most negative thinking does not come from what is happening now. It comes from memory and imagination. Memory brings the past, imagination brings the future, and the present moment gets ignored. The mind says, last time it went wrong, so this time it will also go wrong. But life does not repeat itself in the same way. Every moment is new, but the mind keeps using old conclusions. We often believe that thinking more will give us solutions, but overthinking usually does the opposite. It drains our energy and clouds our judgment. The mind keeps asking questions without waiting for answers. It keeps creating what-if scenarios that may never happen. Slowly, we become tired without doing any real work. One simple but powerful understanding can change everything. You are not required to respond to every thought. Just because the phone rings does not mean you must pick it up. In the same way, just because a thought appears does not mean you must engage with it. The moment you realize you have a choice, the grip of negativity starts loosening. Awareness is like switching on a light in a dark room. The darkness does not fight back, it simply disappears. When you become aware of your thinking patterns, you stop getting lost in them. You start seeing how often the mind exaggerates, assumes, and judges. This seeing itself is healing. Another reason negativity grows is comparison. The mind constantly measures your life against others. It shows you edited versions of people's success and hides their struggles. Comparison makes you forget your own journey. The moment you shift your focus from what do they have to what is my responsibility right now, peace returns. Faith in process is also very important. Life is not meant to be figured out all at once. Some answers come only with time. When the mind demands certainty, it creates anxiety. When the heart learns trust, it creates calm. Trust does not mean everything will be easy. It means you believe you will be able to handle whatever comes. Take care of your inner environment the way you take care of your home. You don't allow garbage to pile up for days. In the same way, don't allow negative thoughts to stay unchecked. Clean the mind daily with silence, reflection, and gratitude. Even a few minutes of stillness can change the tone of your entire day. Remember this gently. Your worth is not decided by your thoughts. Thoughts are temporary visitors. You are the space in which they appear. When you rest in that understanding, negativity loses its authority. The mind becomes calmer, life becomes simpler, and you realize that peace was never missing. It was only covered by noise. Let us understand something very deeply and very calmly. The mind was never meant to torture us, yet many people live as if their own thoughts are their biggest enemy. From morning till night, the mind keeps talking, commenting, judging, predicting, and without realizing it, we start believing that every thought is meaningful, important, and urgent. This is where negativity slowly takes control. Most negative thoughts are not about the present moment. They are either about something that has already happened or something that may never happen. The mind has a habit of dragging the past into today and pulling the future into now. As a result, we miss the only moment where life is actually happening. We sit with people, but we are not present. We eat food, but we are not tasting it. Life keeps moving, but the mind is stuck. One of the biggest misunderstandings is that we think we are our thoughts. When a negative thought comes, we say, I am angry, I am weak, I am not good enough. But if you observe carefully, you will see that a thought comes first, and then you attach yourself to it. You are not the thought, you are the one who noticed the thought. This small realization creates a big shift. The mind becomes powerful when it goes unquestioned. If a thought says, "You will fail," we immediately accept it as truth. But if you gently ask, "Is this absolutely true right now?" the thought loses strength. Negativity does not like inquiry. It survives on blind belief. Awareness is like sunlight. It exposes exaggeration and fear. Another reason negativity stays is because we are constantly rushing. A rushed life creates a restless mind. When there is no pause, the mind keeps accumulating stress. Even a few minutes of stillness each day can change everything. Sitting quietly, watching your breath, or simply observing your thoughts without reacting teaches the mind to slow down. Silence is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Kindness is also very important. Many people are extremely harsh with themselves. One mistake and the mind starts punishing endlessly. But growth does not come from punishment, it comes from understanding. When you treat yourself with patience, the mind relaxes. When the mind feels safe, it stops attacking. Gratitude shifts focus. The same life that feels heavy also has many blessings hidden inside it. When you consciously notice what is going right, the mind learns a new direction. Gratitude does not mean ignoring problems. It means not letting problems define your entire experience. Life will never be completely free of challenges. That is not the goal. The goal is to build a relationship with the mind where you are not controlled by it. When you stop feeding negativity with attention and emotion, it slowly weakens. One day you realize that thoughts still come, but they no longer shake you. And in that quiet strength, you discover something beautiful. Peace was never outside. It was always waiting within, patiently, for you to notice it. Remember this one line for life. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who listens to them. The day you understand this, negativity stops controlling you. Life becomes lighter. Breathing becomes deeper, and silence becomes your strength. So the next time a negative thought appears, smile, and let it pass, because a calm mind is the strongest mind in the world. Thank you. Stay aware, stay peaceful.